Mabuhay! LadyMid0ri here to present you the third episode of ReDRAW with me. I was busy last month with a project from my client, so I wasn't able to upload anything. If you've watched my previous ReDRAW with me episodes, they're both my original characters from a series I'm working on. From now on, I'll be picking up old art from my DeviantArt and redraw them. I may still draw some of my originals from time to time. This time, I'll be working on Puffy AmiYumi. If you're familiar with them, then we'd probably be the same age. I've watched the series in Cartoon Network, and they're also the ones who sang the intro of Teen Titans. I'll be redrawing them, but not in their cartoon styles, but in, tada, anime style. My favorite is Ami since she has this sweet style similar to my old self. But now that I'm all grown up, I think I like them both. I miss this kind of cartoons along with the other series I'm watching at Cartoon Network. I haven't watched other cartoons after my childhood, except Mr. Bean. I'm planning to watch some series I'm seeing on Disney. If you have some recommendations, feel free to comment them down below. Going back to the drawing, I think it'll be harder for me to draw them in cartoon style. You'd notice that most of my drawings are fan art of either anime, Disney, or games. Some don't see it as art, but anime introduced me to art. The first anime I watched and I fell in love with was Sailor Moon, if my memory does not betray me. I wanted to create original characters so I could really call my merchandise my own. I can remember the last convention I went to almost required the creators attending to sell their original art. My friends and I understand that since what most of us were selling were fan arts, it's not considered ours. Some of them have their original art and crafts, and I felt bad afterwards since up until now, I'm doing fan arts. I'm still working on my originals on both comics and merchandise. What I can be proud of now is my creation of my character, Midori. Though I am not well known in the art industry yet, I can be proud to say that she's my original. She is actually inspired by the anime Midori Days. I fell in love with the storyline because the Midori in there is timid, just like me. Though my love story doesn't actually end up like hers. So when I created my username in DeviantArt, I used her name and then made a character of my own afterwards. And then Midori Feels was born. It serves as my online diary. Other than Midori Feels, I have several stories waiting to be published and I plan to do so bit by bit. What Cannot Be Taken Back was my second original creation. It was made due to Webtoon short story contest. I was hoping to take out one of my stories, but all of them were long-term series, so I had to write a short story. Even though it was made in the spur of the moment, I'm proud that I'm able to limit the characters and storyline. That was the most challenging thing that I did. Like I said, most of my creations are long-term. So doing Midori Feels and What Cannot Be Taken Back pushes me out of my comfort zone. In regards with fan art, I've been drawing them ever since I was a kid. In my sketchpad, I've drawn fan arts of the series I've watched. I use text. This is what we call it in the Philippines. They're actually used for playing, but I use them for drawing. And laminated cards, which are available before in Comic Alley, an anime store in the Philippines. Now that internet is just around the corner, I can save my reference anywhere I want to without purchasing for it. Then I got inspired to write my own story based on what I watched and I started to create my originals. I've written them in scratch papers and notebooks that I still have now. I get excited and confused at the same time when I reread my stories. One of them I started working on was the Aurelius. I'm excited because it has an ending and I'm confused because I got the pages mixed up. I've written them down on pieces of scratch paper and piled them in a folder. I highlight some stuff that is important to remind me to input in the story. I've got a couple of drawings of all of my originals that I used to bring and brag when I was in high school. They didn't have a full story back then. I just made them and I was so proud of them. If I'm asked which art I prefer to do, I could say either. Why? Because fan art inspired me to do my originals. If it wasn't for the anime series I love, I wouldn't have to produce my originals. Drawing fan art makes me compare my artwork with others. Though I know that each artist has its own style and uniqueness, so I cast it aside and enjoy what I do. Years have passed and I have yet to make my username known. I've kept drawing fan arts to get acknowledged, just like how I do my best in my full-time job. Increasing my fan base does take quite a lot of time, and numbers does not define who I am. Before, I was obsessed with the numbers in my watchers list, the likes, the faves, the comments, and so on and so forth. When I was drawing my high school manga, Mirror of Wishes, and uploading them on DeviantArt, I kept looking at how many views, likes, and comments it got. Later on, I realized that I was the one viewing it. I'm not sure if DeviantArt counts the creator as a view, but I've avoided doing that to all my accounts, may it be webcomic or YouTube. I was so excited on uploading it that I didn't even thought of how the story went. I still don't know how to draw the panels, backgrounds, or expressions well. I thought that if I do something, everyone will love it. Naive, right? Yes, that's how I see the world before I got hurt and opened my eyes. Now Mo is on hiatus, and we are still working on the revisions. If it makes a comeback, we'll be sure to be on the edge of your seat for the changes. I hate numbers, but even if I haven't gotten the numbers I want for my fan base, I've started to look down on myself. But it didn't stop me from posting more fan arts. I kept drawing fan arts, originals, and challenges to improve. But the problem is, not only the comparison with other artists, but also the algorithm that I have to deal with. Recently, I tried doing reels on my Fan Art Friday, and I ended up getting half of my usual likes. I had to repost the art like how I usually do to get it back. But Instagram never ceases to amaze me. It went up, but it's not the usual amount I receive. When I do the Draw This in Your Style challenge, I usually get the amount back up, but it reverts back when I post my usual. Now every time I do this ReDRAW with me, it reminds me of how far I've gone. Instead of comparing my art to other artists, I want to compare my art to my past self and say, "Hey look, we can do it. I've improved." The numbers have increased slowly too, so I think it's worth it. So which one do you prefer? My traditional or digital style of Puffy AmiYumi? For me, I like them both since I started traditional before I learned digital. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up and subscribe button for more ReDRAW with me sessions or if you want to support my art. Take care!